Hi all, in this video we will be covering deployment of Google Cloud Platform infrastructure via Azure Devops pipeline, and in the repository we will be using the Terraform as a code. So what we will need is as the prerequisites is a GCP subscription, an Azure Devops account, and a project, Google Cloud Platform Service account, and a remote backend state for storing the Terraform files. So let's get started. Let's see what we have into the infrastructure. So if we see, this is our project, or this is our subscription. In that, for the subscription we have an ID. This one is the ID that's we're gonna use, and this is the service account that will be used uh, for this, and we will be deploying the infrastructure. And this is the Azure DevOps account and the project that we are into, this one. And in the organization level we should have these three extensions for Terraform installed, if you see here. So I will just go into this particular project, and this is the project that I have created. In this, the first thing that you're gonna need is the service connection. So you go in here into the project. In the project, go to the project settings. Here is a service connections. First you have to create the service connection. That is, I have already created it. Now if I go and added it, just for the sake of it, to show like how when you create what it shows, you have to fill in the project ID. This is of the GCP project. Then you have to enter the service account email address from in here, this one. This is a token URI private key that is also needed. So from where you get it, into the service accounts, you go in here and you create a key. I have already created, and I have a JSON file, so I have already loaded. So you download the JSON file, and every value is populated there. You have to pick and copy it and paste in here. So this is already created. This is generally for making a connection from Azure DevOps pipeline to GCP platform. And Terraform code used this connection only, and whatever the token and the key in it to authenticate to it and to run the pipeline. So once this is done, the next step is, then we would be using is, we will be uploading the Terraform files, that is the code, and understand the same. So we will go into the repository, this one, and if you see in here, we have used all the same files which we used into the previous video to deploy the virtual machine, the networks, and the firewall rules. All these files are same, all Terraform files. We have made few changes in the last video. We used Terraform only to just deploy the environment, so everything was picked by here. For example, into the variables auth file, what we did, we added this parameter so that it uses a default value of blank. Basically what happens, the GCP authentication or the auth file, it would be blank, and the authentication will be picked up from the service connection. Rest everything's remain same. Similarly, if I go into the terraform.tf vars, I have commented this because we are not using the JSON file. If you're using local Terraform deploy, then you can use this one, or one directory above, by using a dot in front of here. Then similarly, the provider, it should be greater than equal to 0.12, and if I go into the region, rest of the variables remain same. Only change that you need to make here is into the backend.tf. There we specified the backend.tf file. Okay, here we are not specifying it. We have commented all these. This is blank because it will also be picked up from the Azure DevOps, this one. So let's go ahead and check our pipeline that we created. We go into the, on the left hand side, we go to the pipelines, click on pipelines. In the pipelines, I have created two pipelines. One is for creation of the environment, one is for the destruction of the environment. So let's see, let's go into this pipeline and see what is in it. Let's click on edit. So in this particular pipeline, this is basically for preparing the artifact. So first what we will do is we will be copying the files from the repository to the staging directory in Terraform. So this is the path that we specified in there. And the second one is to publish the artifacts which will be used by the release pipeline. So this is this is this we didn't make changes. Only thing we made change onto this one where we specified this directory build. This is the uh, inbuilt directory, staging directory. Into that we specified the Terraform, and this is by default, and we selected this option. And if you see in here, this is the option we selected, Azure Repo Git. Now coming on to the repo, I just want to show you one more thing. Whenever you are adding it, okay, if you have to select on uploading the files. You select uploading the files, you browse or copy it from your own directory and then commit the changes. That file is going to come into it, or you create another directory into it. So let's go to the release pipeline, which will, because what happens is in the pipeline, if I talk about this, okay, if I added it, I have also did it in terms of continuous integration. So how we did it, into the CI, you have go into the triggers and you select enable CI in it. Once you do it, whatever code you commit into the repo, and that will trigger this pipeline, and the artifact will be updated because the build pipeline will run. This is required for making a CI. So that's the reason we have given a name CI in for the pipeline, and also in here. This is just a naming convention that we use. Then we come on to the releases. In the releases, if you see, I will edit the release. This is the release we created. So we have this particular task. Okay, so this is the release we created, and if you see in here, this is the continuous deployment trigger that we created. If I click in here, so this is for the continuous deployment, and that is being used. So what you gonna use is, you will be using the artifacts from here. Artifacts means the raw the code which the release could understand. This is created when the build pipeline is run and is stored into the artifact tree. So we used this for the pipeline, and the source alias is the same one, the release, the build pipeline. So that's the thing. And in here we created the project, sorry, the release pipeline, in which we specified these four tasks, right? How you select the tasks is, you come in here and you select this default, and you just press on to the agent job. You select any task. So here you search for the Terraform, and for the latest one that use Terraform latest, we used this one, Terraform installer. For the others, this was used Terraform, and here we use the different stages. We will show you on like how we did it. So currently I'm not using any tasks. So let me go in here. So this is, I selected the latest Terraform modules to be loaded when it uses or it to be installed onto the agent. uh, Here we selected the initialize. Every task is same, only thing is that we are changing the command in here, and also the configuration directory in here, so it will automatically come in here. And here you have to select the Google Cloud Platform Service connection that we created for making the connectivity to the GCP. And here I am specifying the bucket state, which will be used for the remote state backend, and also the prefix. How it relates, I will just show you. I will go into the storage into the Google, and I have three. I am using this one. This is the remote state that I'm using, and this is the prefix. If you see, this is the default state which is coming up in here. So the same thing I am using in this place into the initial when you are initializing your Terraform. Then there is the Terraform plan. Connection is same, but we are not using remote state. The configuration directory remains same. Similarly, in apply also we are using the same thing. Only thing is that we are using this option, validate and apply. So these are all the Terraform uh, things that we are using, all the stages for the Terraform code lifecycle. So let's go ahead and uh, do the create a release and run it. So create a release and automated trigger, and I will just select this one. This is the release that I'm picking up. Test, deploy, create. I will pause this video once it gets initiated. If you see in here, it says release 9 has been created, and what we need to do is now this is the release that it shows, but it shows it's not deployed. So you need to select it, or you can select it from here, or you can deploy it from here. You can click on deploy. It will pick the artifacts from here and it will deploy. So if it's if you see in here, it's going on, it's in the queue. You can refresh it. It will take around 2-3 minutes, and the deployment will be done. I will pause this video and I will then come back. So it's deploying the environment. If you see in here, it's going on, and these are the stages that it has crossed. It has used the first stage of Terraform latest that it used for initialization, this one. Then its plan also succeeded. Then it's now doing validating and applying. There are a few warnings such as gonna approve and the ignore. And it's, if you see in here, it will automatically pick up auto approve option, the Terraform task in the pipeline, and it's creating it. So it's creating it. What we could do is we can also see like it's creating VPC. Side by side we can go to the VPC and check what it's actually doing, and the environment is being created. If you see in here, it has created this VPC, and side by side now it's creating the firewall rules. If we go in here, so if you see in the firewall rules, it will be creating all these firewall rules like with this naming convention. And if we go in here now, it's deploying. Just a sec. So it's now giving it has created the VM also, and it has finalized and completed the job. So everything is completed. Now we have to just check the compute instance. And if you see, we have this VM which has been created with the help of this pipeline. So this is about the deployment. Now in the next video, what we're gonna do is we will be showing the destruction of the environment for the same. I hope you like this video, and thank you for watching.